With all major offseason moves not yet being finalized, I'm still not going to be adding Tyrese Maxey to the roster, and honestly, at the pace that I'm going, he probably won't be here till next season, so today I wanted to talk about our backup point guard spot. Right now we are sitting very pretty in the Eastern Conference, definitely performing above my expectations, but there's always room for improvement. Shake Milton is unfortunately not really a point guard. He's basically a shooting guard who plays the point guard spot for us, and even though moving Tobias Harris to the bench has helped our overall bench offense quite significantly, I think when the full bench unit is in, it would be nice to have someone out there who can create for Tobias because he's not the best individual creator. So I wanted to make a very small move for a backup point guard who is primarily a playmaker, and the point that I am looking at is Ish Smith, who currently plays for the Washington Wizards. Last year in 26 minutes a game, Ish averaged 5 assists per game. He also played solid defense, was not a bad three-point shooter, and he actually has a pretty decent mid-range pull-up. As for who I'm trading, well, it's not Shake Milton. I'd like to keep Milton as an asset, and though he's not amazing for the fit of the roster I also don't want to just waste an asset, and a swap for Ish would be a lopsided deal. But in the case of the Wizards, they also want to be a good team, so I don't think I can just give them a second rounder or two and they'll call it a day. So in this trade, I'm sending Enes Kanter to the Wizards. The Wizards do not have a backup center, and Enes gives them that and a bench scoring presence, and with both John Wall and Bradley Beal back, their need for a 20+ minute per game guard is much less than a backup 5. And well, we're also sending 3 second-round picks to make sure it goes through. So Ish Smith is now our backup point guard, and that was over 300 words about Ish Smith. This series is truly like no other. Also, Milton is not getting cut out of the rotation or anything, he's just taking Furkan Korkmaz's minutes. So now the bench unit is Ish Smith, Shake Milton, Gary Trent at small forward, Tobias Harris, and Aaron Baines. Milton can now be utilized more correctly as a shooter rather than a ball handler. Another thing in regards to the rotation that I'm strongly considering is moving Gary Trent to the starting lineup. He's just simply a better shooter than Josh Richardson by quite a decent margin, and while you might think he's too small to play the 3, he's actually slightly bigger than Josh, so that's not really any more the case with him than it is with Josh Richardson, and we've been fine with Josh at the 3 defensively. That would be a bit of a hit for the bench unit, so I'm not sure if I want to do that quite yet. Josh is a better defender, but the offense is the more sus thing with the bench unit, so it's a tough line to walk. As of now, I'm going to sit on it and see what we really have with this bench unit with Ish added to it. Maybe we can make that offensive trade-off because Ish is a big help. Maybe not, I guess we'll see. And either way, with Toby there now, we have one of the best benches in the league regardless, so I'm not going to lose too much sleep over it. However, there's always room for improvement, so it's something to look out for. But before we can do that, on top of this trade, I want to go over some mid-season, or really like 50 games in grades for each rotation player on this team, talk about what they've been doing right, wrong, and everything in between. Starting with Drew Holiday, he has averaged 14, 5, and 5, shooting 38% from 3 on 6 attempts a game, which is nearly exactly what I wanted out of him. I knew there wouldn't be enough shots for him to average the 20 plus like he did with the Pelicans, but I wanted him to focus on defense, shooting well from 3, and playmaking, and he is killing 2 of those 3 things. The 5.5 assists per game average isn't what I'd like it to be, but he's also shooting very well from 3, so I'll give it a solid B+. CJ is a weird one because while he has averaged 21 and 4 on good splits, I've only had 2 good games actually playing with him in games, but I don't think I'm going to fault him for that. He's still great in simulation, so I'll give him an A-, I guess. Josh Richardson is shooting very poorly from 3 and from the field, like 30% from 3 poorly. And honestly, as I'm looking at his stats, I'm calling an audible. Trent is now the starting small forward. Josh goes on the bench, never mind about waiting it out. Trent is clearly the better option if Josh is going to be a poor shooter. Matisse Thybulle is averaging a solid 4 points per game, and that's exactly what I needed out of him. Matisse is the guy on the team who does all the dirty work, shoots the ball 3 times a game, and you know what? He does it pretty well, as he shoots 40% from 3 while playing elite defense. So just 0 complaints from me, A+. Ben Simmons has done me the favor of proving me right for putting my faith in him. He is 3rd in MVP voting, 4th in Defensive Player of the Year voting, averaging 22 points per game, 14.5 rebounds, which he somehow maintained over now 46 games. He's getting 8 assists per game, which is right in the sweet spot, not too many, not too little, shooting 65% from the field. He's absolutely getting an A+. Could not be happier happier with his performance this year. Off of the bench, ever since becoming the sixth man, Tobias Harris has been fantastic. He's averaged a solid 16 points per game on good efficiency off of the bench. Really helped that second unit thrive when previous they were struggling to score. That's a solid A-. While Trent has gotten the starting spot, his season hasn't exactly been amazing either. He's only shooting 34% from three and isn't taking as many threes a game as I'd like, so I'm going to give him a C. Not good, but not nearly as bad as Josh. I'm actually going to turn up his three-point shot tendency because only half of his attempts were coming from there when he really should just be gunning it from outside. After that, Aaron Baines has been basically a 0 on offense. He is shooting painfully bad from everywhere, but he is grabbing 6 boards a game in 17 minutes, and he plays great defense and sets good screens. You don't get Baines to score, you get him to do the little things, and he has done the little things. However, I also want my center to shoot better than 37%, so I'm just going to give him a C+. Then there's Shake Milton as the last guy who's played for us who's still in the rotation, Rip Korkmaz. But he has shot 42% from three and scored 7 points a game in just 14 minutes a game on average. So even though I didn't really have expectations for him, he has played very well, so I guess I'll give him the A. But with the season heading towards a close with us now past the trade deadline, let's see what our new addition Ish Smith can do in action, as well as what the rotation change moving Trent to the starting lineup will do. Okay, the matchup for today's game is the Los Angeles Clippers, who, as you could expect, are one of the best teams in the league. In this game, we're going to see a little bit of Ish Smith from what he can do for us off of the bench, and starting right out of the gate, CJ McCollum hits a shot that he probably should not have made, which I guess the Clippers make up for with me leaving him wide open right there. Drew Holiday with the pick and roll to Ben Simmons. Once again, that's exactly why I got Drew Holiday. Paul George with the mid-range pull-up at the top of the key. And this play right here, this is why I wanted to build around Ben Simmons in a Giannis type of way, because I didn't think he'd have that ball handling or playmaking flaw that Giannis has. And nice spin off of Montrezl Harrell. This is the rare case where I actually have a good matchup versus a center for Ben, in that the center is smaller than Ben. Most of the times they're about the same size, if not bigger. Pause. Ben Simmons with the elite defense right there, and then he gets it to Gary Trent, who somehow greens that three out of the corner. But don't worry, the CPU is going to get me right back, as Reggie Jackson actually made that to end the first quarter. Ish Smith finally getting in the game for his first time as a 76er. He gets Landry Shamet on his hip, and he's able to throw it up off of the glass. He's very quick with good handle and good vision, as you see right here. Right there, Tobias gets the mid-range pull-up off of the catch. He's very shifty, and he's able to foul Paul George on the three-pointer. That was not what I was trying to say. Because he's small and he has the good handle, he's able to find space in the pick and roll, and he's able to find guys on the perimeter that Shake Milton just simply was not able to find. And now CJ on the break with the stop and pop over Kawhi Leonard. I had a very good game with CJ in this one. I changed his release like a couple games ago and it hadn't really worked, but I think I finally figured out in this game, as Ish Smith gets it to CJ on the fast break. Ish also stopping Kawhi Leonard on that break, which was impressive for a 6-footer. The rare time of me being aggressive with Drew Holiday as he gets that mid-range pull-up. Reggie Jackson misses that three-pointer. I guess he can only make them from half court. And then Ben Simmons draws the defense, and then Gary Trent with the green release corner three once again. This one a little bit more fair because he actually should have made that. Kawhi Leonard does what he does best, which is hit a mid-range pull-up shot. Then we leave Paul George wide open out of the double team, which was a stupid double team. Ben Simmons, I commit the cardinal sin of shooting a jump shot with him, but he manages to get his own rebound and put it back up. So just padding the rebounding stats, Ben just completely bullies Lou Williams, and then once again, no one wants to pick him up on the break, so I'm just going to stop and pop with CJ for the three-pointer and the green release. I was getting a lot of green releases with CJ in this game, so I think I finally figured out his release for sure. Drew with the lob to Ben Simmons with the and one that he definitely converted on the free throw. People keep asking me about my slider, so I actually turned them up for the CPU in this game because I was tired of killing teams that were this good. I turned up the offensive and defensive awareness, pulling up for three out of the pick and roll with Drew Holiday, once again being aggressive with him. Kawhi with a very well contested mid-range shot, but it just does not matter. I play on Hall of Fame and now beyond Hall of Fame with basically just like improved stamina for us, and then dunk in traffic frequency I ended up turning down because Ben Simmons was just dunking in traffic too frequently, which I guess that makes sense saying that out loud. Ish Smith with the dish down to Ben Simmons, and he manages to dunk this over Zubac right after I said that. And then I also have the stamina turned up for us because I think 2K is not nice enough. CJ with the buzzer beater to the end of the third quarter. I think the stamina is a little bit too extreme, so I turned it up to the stamina to be about 60. And I also have the mid-range slider for us turned up to about 55 because I think it's harder to get open mid-range shots, so I turned up the slider a little bit. Ish Smith with the drive inside, now 4 points and 4 assists. Then in the pick and fade, he's able to get into the teeth of the defense, finishes over Reggie Jackson for the and one. Then he finds Tobias Harris for the three-pointer at the top of the key. So my sliders are not like easy sliders. It's pretty damn good. Ben Simmons is pretty damn good in this game. As you see, he has 34 and 22 right there. Lob to Morris. This team is just pretty damn good, so I'm able to do well with them. On top of this, I created this team in 2K20 before switching over to current gen and getting 2K21 because I didn't buy it for old gen. And I played a lot with this team, so I kind of know what everybody can do already. And then here, fishing for the 40-point game with Ben Simmons, I am able to green both free throw releases as the crowd chants MVP. As I said earlier, he is third in MVP voting, and we win this game. Both Ben and CJ combined for 65 points on very good shooting splits. And then if we take a look over down at Ish Smith, he had 6 points and 5 assists on 3 for 5 shooting. And that is the end of this video. Please be sure to like and subscribe for more MyNBA content like this, and cue the outro music.